Okay, this is Kodu Game Lab. Let me show you how to use some basic tools. First, we'll start with the new world. Choose any of these three. In the top left-hand corner, you can see a cheat sheet. The cheat sheet is based on what tool you have selected down here. You can see I have the move camera selected. That's the little hand icon. And if I switch over, I have the object tool. And you can notice now my cheat sheet changed. So what we're going to do today is just move the land around based on the cheat sheet. So I'm left clicking and dragging. Now I'm right clicking and dragging, and you can see I can orbit. So let's say I want it right there. Now I'm going to switch tools. I'm going to grab the object tool, and I'm going to left click on the ground. And then I'm going to left click an object. This is how you add objects to your world. So let's do that again. Click anywhere and click on the item. You can see you can really load this up with a lot of items. It's really simple. Clicking and selecting. It's multiple choice object. So let's choose a rover. Now let's look at the cheat sheet. While I have my object tool selected and I highlight this rover here, I can change the color with the arrows or change its alignment with the arrows. Or I can click on the tab key to switch between objects. I can click F3 to snap to grid, F4 to center camera, space to move the camera. You can see that I can move the camera by pressing spacebar. So always pay attention to what tool you have selected and what are the options in your top left-hand corner. This is how you add objects to the Kodu world. It's real simple. Once you've added everything you want to add in your world, you can go ahead and save it. And you save it by clicking on this house icon right here, the home menu. So I'll click on that, click on Save My World. I'm going to name it Mike's World so I can come back to it. Mike's World, save. That's how you save your little world to come back to it next time. So if I go to the home icon and I click on Load World, I can look for my world in all these tabs right here under All, or just My World, Mike's World. I click on it and my world is saved back to where I am at. Now, let's go into something a little bit more advanced. How do we program these characters to move? Because if I press the play button on my toolbar, you see my tools have disappeared and I'm in play mode. And nothing is really happening because nothing's been programmed. So if I hit the escape button on the keyboard, I can click back between edit and play game. So you can see your prompt here. Press ESC to edit, and then press ESC again to play, or you can click on the play button here. This takes you between edit mode and play mode. Now let's go to program mode. So I need the object tool selected here, and then I need to hover over an object, right click on it, and now I get the options menu. I want to program, so I will left click on program. This is our programming interface. I can see what page I'm on by the top number here. I can see what line of code I am on here by this line of code right here. And then look, there's my cheat sheet right up here in the top left. So if you don't know what to do on any screen, look to your top left, read and decide what you want to do and experiment with what options you have. Now, as far as the coding each line by line, we're going to tackle it by clicking this plus icon on the win side. So you can see you have two words here, win and do. Kodu is broken up in multiple choice. Win items, like when I press this keyboard, when this rover sees this, when this rover bumps, when this rover XYZ, multiple choice by clicking on this plus sign. So left click on the plus sign. Here are my multiple choice items for win. For today, we're going to keep it real simple. Win the keyboard. Now, the keyboard has a lot of buttons, so we have to tell it which buttons we want to program. The first ones you always do for player control is arrows and WASD. I usually do first player for arrows, second player WASD. So first player arrows. Now I have my win. This is my input. When the keyboard arrows are pressed, I want it to do something. If I hit the do plus sign, these are all my multiple choice items. In this case, we're going to start with the top one, which is move. So when the keyboard arrows do move, you'll see there's a plus sign here. There's more options that I can choose from. So I'm going to choose quickly and max out its quick moving by going quickly, quickly, quickly. Now, that's my first line of code. If you come up to the top left-hand corner, you can see that the ESC button is to return. So I'll press the escape button, and then I'll press the escape button again to go into play mode. Now, when I press the arrow keys, I can move around this world because I've programmed this little rover to move when the keyboard arrows are pressed. That's real simple character movement. Now, if I press escape to get out of edit mode and I choose player 2, let's say it's this red rover right here. Right click on it, click program. Nothing's been programmed here because it's a different object. So when keyboard WASD, because the arrows are in use right now, do move. It does the same thing, except it's going to move when WASD keys are pressed. So I'll press escape again and escape. Now my arrows move this rover and my WASD moves this key. This is real simple first and second player control. Now you can see the terrain and the camera is moving based on the movements of player 1 and 2, which makes it very exciting but a little hard to control. So let's fix that by hitting the escape button, going down to our toolbar. At the very end here, change world settings, scroll down to camera mode. Instead of it being a free camera, we want a fixed position camera, so it's anchored. I'll press the letter X to set my camera. Now I'll do a top-down view of my world so I can see everything from the top. Now when I hit the keyboard enter, I've set my fixed camera position and I can test it by pressing escape to return and escape to play again. And now you can see both of my players can move in a world that doesn't move based on player control, but is just fixed. That's a good way to set a basic foundation by adding objects to the world and programming your Kodu or your rover to do anything you want. Now, based on what you add, there's limitations. For instance, Kodu, these rovers don't have certain things that they can do. So they're really for games that are based on exploration and science, like space type games. But if I add a Kodu like this one, I can hit program. So when this Kodu bumps anything, do eat it. So when this Kodu bumps into anything, it's going to eat it. Now the rover doesn't eat. Let's see what happens if I drive into this Kodu. You can see my rover has disappeared. So this is a really good way to add some ops in your game that is stopping you from doing things. That's just some real simple code. Okay, that's the very basics, the very minimum, just to get something started and being playful and exploring for today. So we'll just stop right there.